All right, so hi everyone and welcome. We are so excited to have this conversation today, and we're extra grateful to the Tegan and Sarah Foundation for giving us a little bit of money so we can invite in amazing people like Carmarion D. Anderson. Oh, and Lauren is wearing the shirt. Who may have a new name, so I'll let her introduce herself, but we're super excited to have her here today to talk about the really important topic of voting and access to voting, especially as LGBTQ young people, the importance of being able to voice your needs and feel uplifted in sharing those needs. So Carmarion, take it away.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. Before I share my screen, let me warm up and let me say hello to the amazing audience, to my siblings. Wow, this is remarkable. A needed conversation, as Amanda has already stated, and so I'm excited to present for you this evening. A little bit about me. So my name is Carmarion D. Anderson-Harvey. New last name attached to it. I recently got married. Excited about that. Dreams do come true for our trans-identified community and our GNC. And so I am a living testament of that. So just a little bit about me. First, I am the Alabama State Director for the Human Rights Campaign. So some of you may have seen my face. I've been here 1 year and 1 week. So I'm new to Alabama by way of Texas. And I'm excited to be an Alabamian. This is a wonderful state to live in, doing the remarkable work with partnering with institutions such as the Magic Center Acceptance Center to move the needle forward towards inclusion and equality for everyone. So I'm very excited about that. So just a little bit about me, and I have some things in the presentation to give you some fun facts. But I am a woman of trans experience. I'm a Black woman of trans experience. I have curly hair. I have a blush line with a pink lip, black and white blouse with a silver necklace. And I like to give that description because my journey started, let me count, 24 years ago. Yeah, 24 years ago. I was a teenager when there was a time where transition was not spoken of, especially here in the South, especially in my race of being Black and also being reared in religion and faith. My parents being senior bigwig pastors in a Pentecostal denomination. So, and I share all of this context because I am a living proof that being trans-identified, owning your voice, and knowing and having the knowledge that you can excel, and it's a great reward when you are in positions such as I am now to be able to share my narrative and empower other individuals. So I am trans-identified, and so I believe I am among family, so I can talk freely how I want to. So we're going to dive in, and I'm going to share my screen. And not trying to make this very much like school. I'm doing some slides because I really want this, what in my mind could be very elementary, but very new and exciting for you. I live and breathe in this season election just because HRC, or the Human Rights Campaign, we really center around policies, election, to really help every LGBTQ folks. And if you know anything about HRC, if you notice in the last year, we have really been intentional about ensuring that there are visibility for the trans-identified and the GNC community in the work that we're doing. So let me share my screen and we're gonna jump right into it. All righty, can we see that, Amanda? Thumbs up. Awesome. So I entitled this, My Vote, My Voice. That's what I entitled it. And I think a lot of times what happens is that even in my early experience, when I transition, or as I like to say, when I start living the essence of my own truth, not anyone else's, not society, not what my parents, I was very respectful by going to my parents, letting them know I got pushback, but I owned my voice. And that voice also is important when it's time to vote, to make proper decisions, so our society and our community literally can thrive doing the best candidate that we choose who understands our community and our narratives. So Our focus area really is going to be very quick: understanding your voice, understanding your voting rights. And I want to offer you who are eligible to vote at this particular time a checklist. And for those that's not, you too still have a voice. Even if you're not eligible to vote by age, we have all of these wonderful social media campaigns. You will be surprised how many youth that are not eligible to vote who is pushing the message of voting because we're listening. We're in this social media technology, and you too can do your part. So let's get into some fun. Let's do some fun facts first about me. Let's have some fun. So, I can really tell y'all that I'm really your TT. I really, really am invested within my community and the work that I do. So just a little fun fact, since you know that I am a trans woman, or a woman of trans experience, as I like to call it, because I never want my trans to supersede who I am. There is nothing preferred about Carmarion D. Anderson-Harvey. My pronouns is she and her and hers. There's nothing preferred about that. I don't have a preferred name. All of this is leading so people will know that I don't second guess my voice. Therefore, I'm not going to second guess my vote. So here we go. Did you know my favorite Southern food is smothered livers and onions? I know probably for some of you like, oh my goodness, gross, yuck, yuck, yuck. But I'm much older and I grew up on survival food. And this was certainly a survival meal. And it is a delicacy for those that are in the South, but it is my favorite meal. It has a lot of iron in it. Now, I was a vegetarian for 5 years, and for an additional 5 years, I was a pescatarian. And so therefore, I now eat meat, but that does not mean that I want to segregate anyone who doesn't eat meat. I'm just sharing a little fun facts. I know liver is probably gross, but it is good to me. That's my voice. I own that. I take that to the voting polls with me. I'll speak it on social media because I want, and if you never tried liver, I will say try it and then judge for yourself. That's our voice. We're persuading individuals with our voice. And so also, I'm an identical twin. I have a wonderful twin brother who identifies as he and him, so masculine, and is my best friend who is in Texas doing remarkable things as a school principal and superintendent. And I just love, love, love. This picture was taken right the day before I left and packed up and came to Alabama when we celebrated our birthday together. So kind of a little fun fact. But let me tell you about this. Because we're twins, we look alike. Growing up, they try to have expectations the same and so forth. We really do agree, but we also disagree. There are things when it comes down to policy, because of my truth and my narrative and the lack of resources I try to promote to gain for my community and myself, sometimes we may disagree. Takes nothing away that this is my sibling, takes nothing away that we still look alike, we smile alike, and we love one another. But my opinion is not predicated on my twin. It's predicated because I've owned my own voice and I stood with it. In addition, I am a mom. Oh my goodness. I told y'all I'm a little bit older than y'all. I am a mom. This picture was also taken last year. I have one son, and now that I'm recently married, I also have 4 bonus sons. But this is my gentleman here who I love and adore and will do anything for. My son will be 25 this year, and I'm excited that he has just have grown up and made me very proud. Again, these are things, and I'm sharing this because as trans individuals, at times, we are exiled from our decisions because of traditional things in society. Like I can't be a parent, or I'm not qualified to be a parent and so forth. But I'm a living proof that parenting is a wonderful thing, and I have enjoyed every moment and continue to enjoy. Oh, but wait a minute. Wait 1 minute. Fun fact. I also have 3 grandbabies. Oh my goodness. 3 grandbabies. A trans mother and a trans grandmother who has a powerful voice to prove to people I now get to foster little ones. These are my grandbabies when they were much smaller at birth, when they were born. But I have an oldest I have an oldest to a middle one, now to a newborn. And so I'm so excited. I'm hoping they'll call me Gammy. That's my preference, but they can call me whatever because they're so darling. And one of the things that I taught my son that I know now that he's teaching his children, him and his partner, is that we allow them to grow up and identify how they want to. We don't force them to eat what they don't like. We don't do that. You will be surprised at any age. We can tell you what we agree or disagree with, and we should never be forced. And my honey, I am married. As I said earlier, I actually got married this year, May 29th. It was a beautiful, closed, single him and I wedding. Thanks to COVID, I was able to save thousands of dollars and not have anybody show up and eat my fried chicken and have a piece of my cake and sit next to my roses just to be nosy. That's generally how weddings go, I feel. But we actually got married here in Alabama, took wedding pictures at a wonderful park in Homewood, and I surprised the world that I got married? Oh, wow. I share all of these fun facts to let you know is that our voice and our presence is so powerful. And not everyone is going to be empowered like I was early on in life to know my passion of being an advocate, knowing my passion to try to help change policy, but it can be done because, again, I'm living proof. Now, that was fun facts. Now, let's get into the meat, understanding your voice. This is a video that we recently released with the Human Rights Campaign. I'd like to share with you for those that are listening. And here we go.
I know we are in like the long fight, and this is the hard one where we are constantly told, and we have to look other politicians and other people in the eyes as they tell us that we should not even be alive. And that's hard and that sucks. But this is so incredibly important because we are saving so many lives by pushing this work, pushing this narrative, and trying to protect the people in our lives. But now that I am 18 and now that we have this huge election coming up, I can do that. I do have that power, and it is incredibly liberating.
There we have it. Your voice is powerful.
I
promise you. So now let's have some participation. So let's unpack what I mean about voice. Amanda's going to help me for those that are not particularly on the Zoom, but I want you to weigh in, and I just have 3 options. Choose one out of the 3 options and let me know which menu option would you choose. You can type it in the chat. You can type it into your communication board. Amanda's just going to throw out some numbers to me. But we got pizza, we got hamburgers and fries, and we got a wonderful salad. What will be your options? I see someone says 1. I'll choose pizza. Amanda, what do you have on your end? Do you have anyone selecting anything other than the pizza? Oh, I see another pizza. Pizza's winning.
I'm seeing a lot of ones, but we do have a salad.
Oh, we have a salad. Yes, we got a burger finally. Okay, good.
Impossible burger. That's the qualifier.
Oh, that'll be all right. All righty. So just a few more. Any other votes come in? So let me share with you what we just done. When you go to a restaurant or, when preparing for, breakfast, lunch, or dinner or a snack, there are options, okay? And not every option is going to fit everyone, okay? But when we come together to vote, we oftentimes can see where the majority, okay, that's a key word in voting, where the majority of voices want to push their favorite, quote unquote, on to everyone. And in election, once the favorite is selected, especially for this race, for presidential race, then we're with them for 4 years. I'm not a big fan of pizza, okay? I probably would have chose 3, 2, then 1. But if majority chose 1, I just have to really just tolerate. But at the same time, the question is that if those who chose 1 were not on the call, then 1 would not be an option, which means that you would not have been able to weigh in, and we would have to probably deal with the salad. And you would have been like, yuck, I want pizza. I want tomato sauce. I want cheese. I want bread. You would have did that. The reason why I bring this illustration out, because it's important you know that every voice counts. Showing up to be counted is very important. You will be surprised that although I saw the lesser weigh in on Burger, but I don't know who else may be showing up. And I may be celebrating that, wow, we're going to have a pizza party. But when the results come in, we're really having a hamburger party because the majority shows up. In our society and right now, the reason why we're having this conversation is twofold. It's one, is to educate you about your power of your voice, to show up, to vote, to know the laws, get your question answered, and be empowered to go cast your vote. We have a shortage of trans-identified and GNC individuals who actually vote, and it doesn't change our narrative on a policy side, on an electoral side. And so just as simple as having these options to choose from is the same way when we look at candidates that we're trying to move forward in our best interest. And I will always promote equality candidates. So let's look at this. I thought this was very interesting. I want to dissect this. So ever so often, you know, I somewhat of a music buff rather, not just because of the lyrics or the song. I like instrumental music. Another fun fact, because I did grow up very spiritual and my parents were the pastors, I was forced to play an instrument growing up in church. And believe it or not, I'm really good still at it. I just stopped playing maybe 6 months ago because I haven't found a place to play, but I am a mean drummer in heels. I am a mean drummer in heels. And so if you know anything about Black church and music, it's very loud and very exciting. But I love music. So I popped this out to show you that everywhere we look, there's always a rating. There's always someone voting in. There's always someone casting popularity. And here I copied this top songs for 2020 thus far. And when I look at this particular list, I am so sure that some of you know some of these songs. I just know some of you do. I know some of you may agree with the layout of the top 20. When I look at this, not many of the songs resonate to me at all. I'll be honest with you. And it doesn't resonate because maybe I don't know. I just know the title, like Old Town Road. I just see a title, but maybe I don't know the title of the song, but maybe I know the artist. Okay. Or perhaps I just never heard the song before, but yet it made the top 20 because someone favored it and actually cast a vote and purchased it and listened to it over and over and over, where they've memorized the lyric, and now it's become one of the best sellers. Wow. Why am I saying this? Because I want to know how many times have we actually, I know that we're young, I know sometimes news do not favor or interest us, but how many times do we actually force ourselves to get a better understanding so when we see ratings like this, we'll basically understand or agree that I see why Old Town Road is top 2. Or Dusk Till Dawn. I have no idea what that song is. I don't. So I'll just fake it like I do, but I absolutely don't. It's important that we keep up with current events. It's important that we keep up during this election season. What are incompetent, I did say that, and this is recording. Let me be respectful. What our current leadership, President Trump, and what our equality candidates, which is going to be Vice President Biden and his running mate, which is going to be Kamala Harris, we have to keep up with news articles to find out what they really are saying to us. How is that speaking to our narrative? How is that speaking to our intersectionality? Which means I'm not just Black. I'm not just feminine. I'm not just a woman. I'm not just a woman of trans experience. I'm not just a mother. I'm not just a grandmother. I'm not just a spouse. But how are they speaking to all of me? How are they speaking to my narrative? So I can vote and put what they're saying to the top 20 list. And then I have the ability to listen who doesn't support my narrative of being trans-identified, who can care less, who sits there and misgendered me, who sits there, who don't even know how to define who we are as a community or as a race or just yet alone as humans. That's important to know. So while we're entertained about music and, you know, it makes us feel good, words are important too. And although our candidates are not singing a song, their message is not speechless, like number 23. It's not speechless whatsoever. And so we have to have an ear to hear so we can be empowered enough to say there's a candidate that makes me want to get up early on election day and go cast my vote because they speak to the holistic of who I am as a person, as my gender, as seeing me as human. So, understanding your voting rights. Couple things. Voting is a key part of our participation in society. I need for you to know that. No one can take your voice. No one can take your opinions. No one can take what you like or dislike. No one can do that. You are part of this society, and voting is a key. It's not a privilege. It's not mandatory, but it is your responsibility to participate because it's free of charge. That's where our nation is. It's really free. So when you hear things such as we as trans people can't vote, or you don't know what you're speaking about, don't even worry about voting, it's not going to make a difference. They're trying to deter you because they understand that this is a free opportunity every 4 years doing voting, that we get to cast our vote to select who benefits us as individuals, who benefits our intersectionalities as individuals, and who makes an impact on our community. In addition to that, strict voters ID laws, okay? There's rumors around. I want y'all to understand. And we here at HRC and other national institutions have really been keeping an eye on this. What this means is that trans and GNC individuals have been facing barriers because of the lack of cultural competency, okay, in polling places, because lack of education, because they see you in person that may not be looks presentable or can identify you from your picture ID. Well, they don't know what happened just last month, you know, a year, the last time you vote. That's not their business or their responsibility. Their job is to ensure that you are the person casting your vote, that you are the person who you say that you are. And we'll get into documentation and things like that. But no one by law can turn you around from casting your vote, just like no one can silence your voice because it's your opinion and you're entitled to it. Bias and misunderstanding of the law when it comes down to gender affirmation. As I alluded to earlier, because of lack of education and cultural competency, it can't be translated to cultural responsiveness or cultural humility for those that are working the polls or those that are not motivating us as trans individual or our community that our voice counts, okay? That's their problem. Our responsibility is to show up to be counted. We show up bold. This is who we are. You know, I know people will say, I am who I am because you don't pay my bills, you don't feed me, you don't do all that. And that's nice and stuff. You don't have to go through down that checklist. They don't even deserve that. You show up and say, I am who I am, and my name is such and such, and I am here to vote. We have to start owning the power that we have in our trans community within our transition. And baby, listen, I understand. I've been at this game for a long time. And I say game because this has become my life of teaching others, okay? I don't care if you haven't physically transitioned. I don't care if you're contemplating. I don't care if you have 1, 2, 3 years in. You are a human being, and whatever during that particular time of you opening and outing yourself is who we should respect. Period. Period. So I share that and I impart that in you because I'm hoping that will empower and motivate you that when you go into public, you're more confident that I know who I am. So when November 3rd comes, you walk in and automatically so confident that whatever tries to attack or come your way, it just rolls off because you're focused minded because I know who I am. And then finally, knowing your rights can help and offer solutions, okay? This is very key, knowing your rights, because there will be people there that will look at you and have the perception as you don't know what the heck you're talking about. And let them talk. Let them talk, engage with them, educate them while you at it. And then turn around and answer or dive into the conversation because we are capable of knowing what our voting rights are and we are capable of knowing our state laws as it relates that we're entitled, regardless if I'm trans, identified, GNC or not, I am eligible to vote and I'm not leaving here until I vote because my vote, my voice matters. As we move forward, I almost feel like, we're in the South. I almost want to, feel like, give me some thumbs up, give me an amen, something, because this is really real. This is awesome. We are the blueprint of change. The trans-identified and GNC community, we are the blueprint. That's why we have to make sure we understand when it's time for us to be eligible to vote, we vote. Now, let me tell you, all of this I'm giving you, you don't have to wait for election season. When we get back to some level of normalcy and we're in the classroom and they're casting votes, this practice will help you as well to make sure that your voice is being heard because you should not be ignored because of their perception as we move forward. All righty, let's see if it's gonna work. Another video, it may work. Let's see.
My name is Janet Mock and I vote.
I'm Charles and I vote.
My name is Mara Kiesling and I vote.
I'm Laverne Cox and I vote.
My name is Ignacio Rivera and I vote.
I'm Kit Yan and I vote. Voting while trans means that some of us are told we aren't who we say we are because of the way we look.
Voting while trans means that some of us are gawked at by poll workers. Voting while trans means that some of us are almost always asked
to give our real name.
Real names, but real name. Voting while trans means
getting the information you need to protect your right to vote.
This election, over 25,000 transgender people could lose their right to vote.
25,000 transgender people could lose their right to vote.
And even if you've never had a problem voting before,
check your voter registration information and make sure your name and address match your current ID.
And if you can, update your ID photo and gender marker now.
We all have a right to vote no matter who we are.
So protect your right to vote. Learn more at votingwhiletrans.org.
Awesome. So I shared this video with you and about 95% of those who participated in this video, I know personally. So I was excited that it was released in time for me to be able to share with y'all. I have partnered personal wise with NCTE or the National Center for Transgender Equality for a few years now. And they do great work. And so I wanted to make sure that you understand that although you have a co-conspirator or advocacy through HRC, there are other institutions that really focus primarily on the needs of the trans-identified community. So please take advantage. One of the things that was very important that I thought it was a hoot is when they get to this real. What is real? What is real? Real name. It almost sounds like, what is your preferred name? No, what is my name? We have to be in position to start correcting that. What is your real name? I'm sorry, I'm not understanding your question. Well, what is your real name? I'm sorry, again, I'm not understanding your question. Would you like to know what my name is? I'll be glad to give you that. We have to start correcting them in a respectful and tactful way so they won't do that again second, third time around to you or anyone else. And it will train them to be respectful for those that are not trans-identified. Practice just don't make perfect. Practice makes permanent. I want someone you can tweet that. I don't care. You can tweet that. Practice just don't make permanent. It doesn't make perfect. It makes permanent. And the more and more you practice, the more and more it becomes permanent. And before you know it, you'll just be exuberant out what you have been practicing, and it just becomes second nature. You wouldn't even think, because you have practiced for so long, that it's transitioned to permanent. All righty. Let's see what else we got. All righty. So voting checklist, important, my family, my siblings, very important, okay? I'm going to put on my glasses. I told you I'm a little older than you, so I got to be able to see your little notes here, okay? So listen, register to vote. If you're eligible, register to vote. You still have time. I have a graphics that will be at the end of this slide that will share all opportunities how you can register, but it is important that you register to vote by deadline. We'll talk about that. If you have already registered, check your voter's registration. Make sure that there's correct information on there and so forth. All of this is just pre-precaution, so when you go vote or whatnot, you have that confidence that I am going to share my voice on this day, and have the hope that you sharing your voice is going to make a difference. As well as check your ID, if you need to update any information. Now, I want to spell this out to you. You do not have to worry about your gender identity or presentation. It is not required by law. I want that to soak in, okay? It's not required by law. So if you have a ID that still has a dead name or a gender that is not who you represent, then therefore they cannot turn you away. They're looking at your name, address, and so forth. And if you have an ID that doesn't have that updated information, then you are eligible to also bring proof of the address you're at, such as a utility bill, that will help them better identify you to vote. And the biggest thing, because of COVID, that blessed Alabama, since we don't have early voting, is vote by mail. If you don't want to go to a poll, if you don't want to have to deal and turn around and have that power to show up so you won't bless somebody with your tongue, and I'm not speaking, in a nice way, but if you don't want to have to exercise what we're speaking now, you have the ability to do everything by mail. Wow. And the reason why I say it's blessed COVID, because they incorporated COVID clearance where you can just mark, I can't show up because of an illness. They're not going to check anything. They just want to make sure that you cast your vote, and COVID is not going to be an interruption for us Alabamians casting our votes. We have a lot of races going on right now. The two primary races is going to be our presidential race, and we have a Senate race. Very important to our community. I encourage you, because I have to speak nonpartisan, I encourage you to look up candidates for Alabama. Do your research now. It's easy. Type in the candidate's name, type in transgender issues, and just read about it. Very simple to narrow down who you can see who's for us and who is not. And if that doesn't work, you can call me offline and we can have a good gossip conversation, because at that time I can release to you what I know. And then as we move on, okay, so this is the checklist I wanted to share with you. I pulled this from a wonderful website that we use through HRC, and this is Alabama. So I want to kind of break this down for you. So registration to vote, my siblings, you have to register to vote by October 9th. That is around the corner, October the 9th, okay? And if you need help how to register, I'm going to ask you to connect with Amanda, or if you want to do this on your own, you're welcome to go to hrc.org/vote. hrc.org/vote. Scroll all the way to the bottom, fill out the information, and it will give you what I'm sharing with you now. And it'll be at your fingertips, and it'll have websites that you can go on to ensure that your voice counts, because you do want to vote. this election. And then we don't have early voting, like I stated, in Alabama. So there's no true voting no true early voting, but we do have absentee. In-person voting. Thus far, there is no changes to our polling to close or anything. So when November the 3rd comes, they're going to be open. Most likely, they're going to be social distancing during this particular time. They will be looking at IDs, so just make sure you understand that you have everything you need for in-person voting. Also, as I mentioned, because you can request an absentee ballot. And again, because of the pandemic, any voter in Alabama can request an absentee ballot by using physical illness or infirmity excuse, okay? Any, and you're not telling a story. Because to believe it or not, if you don't want to show up because you don't have to deal with the foolishness, as us country people will say, the foolishness of living out your truth and them turning you back, to me, that's a little anxiety. I'm sorry, you know, that's just major mental. And so you have the ability to do that. If you do go the route of absentee voting, please, 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 my siblings, please have it in the mail by the deadline date. Absentee ballots must be postmarked by November the 2nd. Now, look, I keep it real. I keep it real. Get that absentee voting and have that ballot postmarked and submitted before Halloween. No trick or treat in Alabama, honey. I'm sorry. Get it in. We're not going to wait till November the 3rd. I am so sorry, because we have something to say as a trans community that's eligible to vote. And for my babies that are not eligible to vote right now, use your social media. Take this information that you're hearing today. You will be surprised who's listening. I stay up at night. I'm not a big social media adding my comments, but I sure do love reading them. I really do. And when I get something interesting, especially from my youth, I share it out, because from the mouth of babes. And remember, although your age is not eligible to vote, I will be the first to tell you that when you're living out your truth in a world that still don't understand us, it matures us. We know what the heck we're talking about, period. And then finally, just make sure that if you're going to go the absentee voting, right, that you meet that deadline. You do have to request for a ballot. So please, my siblings, do that early. I encourage absentee voting, especially within the LGBTQ community, because our voice still matters and we should not have any barriers that's going to keep us. And I really do think it's a blessing and in favor of us, because absentee voting is here. That's my presentation, family. So look, we're going to open it up. I'm going to hand it back to Amanda, see if we got any Q&A. You now have my information to reach out to me. I also like to open up membership, that we still do membership for those that are 18 years and older. For those that just want to partner with HRC Alabama, it's $5. We'll be able to keep you in contact with some of the things that we're doing. But I will tell you that the Magic City Acceptance Center is one of our coalition partners. So whatever we're doing, they're invited to, and they're able to join in and invite their members as well, their support, their youth. And I am just so thrilled. This won't be the last time that you see me. But again, if you heard nothing else, your voice is important. Therefore, go vote to make sure that you cast your vote, because we need a new tomorrow, and we need that today. So I'll open it up to the floor, give it back to Amanda to see if we have any questions and more dialogue about this conversation.
Carmarion, you are incredible. I feel like I just went to the best kind of church, like voting church. It was so good. I feel empowered, and I'm already like here and with it, and I'm voting. So I want to invite you all who are here with us, or those who are watching on Discord, to either type your questions or send them to us if you aren't comfortable sharing them. Emmy said birch, if you will. Voting church. It was incredible and empowering and powerful, and I'm so grateful to have you here in our community, and so grateful for the work that you're doing. That was just incredible. I was geeking out the whole time. So who here is ready to vote, and who here has questions about voting that weren't answered or that you want clarification on?
And I'll say too, if you just want to take a moment to introduce yourself and say hi and what you got from that, you're welcome to do that as well.
Hi. Nobody else did it, so I will. Hi, I'm Emily or Emmy or Spring or Flower or Nova or Ash or Frisk or Nat or Frog. What's your name? Thanks, it's mine now. Daisy and Power. Honestly, Power. I mostly power. That's it. That's the vibe. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Emmy. Thanks for chiming in. I got that too. And Winnie, I see you say you have no questions, but you can't wait to vote.
Yes, ma'am. Hi, I'm Veda. My friends call me Winnie sometimes. I'm really excited to vote, and I can't wait till I turn 18 to kind of help with the whole situation of just everything in general.
We're so glad you're here and that you joined us, even though you're not yet voting age. It's so good to start young and feel empowered to use your voice in ways that even if you can't vote, you are still strong and you can still contribute in so many ways. And you're doing it by being here and being part of this conversation. So props to you. That's so powerful. You are going to go on and do amazing things. Emmy is forever in the comments. So yeah, it's great to have you here and great to have you excited about voting. I hope that you maintain that excitement all the way up until your 18th birthday.
And yeah, and I appreciate you too. And that leads me to give everyone a charge, to be honest with you. And I think we all can do it. I think between now up until election, use your social media account, go to CNN, go to a news on your app, find something of a candidate that interests you and just blast it. Just blast it. You'll be surprised what type of dialogue you will have, especially around when you're educating your social followers about trans-related issues that these candidates are speaking about. You don't have to just always post what's positive that speaks to you. You also can weigh in your opinion and post it out. So I challenge all of us, no matter what age you are, use your social media for your voice, especially during this COVID, and just share. But every day, try to find one post a day on either your social platforms, weigh in your opinion or weigh in that I totally agree with this candidate because X, Y, and Z. You'll be surprised how many people will respond to you.
And you're sipping tea, like it's all just so good. It's fantastic. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to add? If you're on Discord, feel free to pop in and type something out for us. If not, we're gonna wrap up in just a moment.
And Veronica and Jake, thank you for being here as well.
Okay, well, with that being said, this was absolutely incredible. I can't wait to get the recording out there for the rest of the folks who couldn't see this to be able to still experience the powerhouse that you are and the power behind this. This was absolutely incredible, and I'm so excited, and I hope people feel energized like we do and ready to go out and vote and help others vote and feel supported in voting. So thank you so much for your time. You are so incredible. I know how busy you are right now. So just thank you for everything you're doing and for existing. We are grateful to you. And congrats on getting married again. We're super excited for you. Just so many things to celebrate. Celebrating all that you are and all that you're experiencing. We're just indebted to you. So thank you.
I love the affirmations. That's what we're supposed to do in our community. Affirm daily. Thank you so much. And this was a joy to spend with y'all. Please don't let this be your last invitation. Cannot wait to meet some of y'all in person when we are able to not experience this social distancing that we have to do. But maybe I'll surprise you and pop in, not say a word, but just to say hello. So thank you again for this invitation.
We would love that. And you're not going anywhere. We're going to bug you. I promise. We want you to come back as soon as possible. So we'll be talking soon. Thank you for your time. And I hope y'all have a wonderful evening. All right. Bye, y'all.